A lot of people were excited about this market, and we got price wars, what have you. So how do we go from something that was promising to some extent to the current situation that we're in today?
Yes, so the China autos market has actually been seeing relatively flat growth. There's been quite a weak consumer sentiment coming out from the COVID pandemic last year. So with the overall market not growing really fast, you actually have EV makers competing even more fiercely to maintain their market share. That's why we're seeing all of these price cuts and trying to get consumers buying again. And as well, with the government basically saying they're not going to prop up the EV makers that are failing. So essentially, China started a program to promote EVs to become a really strong industry about 10 years ago. And now that 10-year plan has come to an end, and we saw really generous consumer subsidies ending last year, which has also had an effect on the market, cooling it down. So now it's a pretty tough competition for these EV makers right now in China.
Yeah, if this bubble really is starting to deflate, then Linda, what does this mean for EV makers that are still in the game? Who's likely to survive?
Yes, so now we're seeing a lot of these players essentially being forced to exit because they're not selling cars. So their production plants are laying idle, and cash flow is a big problem. We've seen that currently there's maybe just over 100 EV brands in the Chinese market. That's down from maybe hundreds back in 2019. So a lot of these companies essentially just went out of business once the subsidies ran dry and consumers aren't buying their cars. So for existing players, we're starting to see really dominant ones emerge, especially BYD and Tesla. These top two players grab most of the market share in China. And the smaller ones like NIO and Li Auto, they really have to bring up new models to excite customers, as well as keep pricing attractive to try to compete against the strong players.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the subsidies going away is just coming into form right now of lower prices, isn't it? They're just subsidizing it themselves, I guess, in some way. How does the industry look moving forward? Do we get more consolidation? Is the 100 sort of company count, is that going to shrink even further?
Yes, so analysts are predicting even more consolidation to happen in the coming 5 to 10 years. What they're saying is, you know, China's EV market has been such a bubble. Now it's time that it's bursting, and essentially you're just going to see majority of the companies that sprouted up in the past decade drop off. And one of the analysts I talked to said that he can see the China autos and EV market becoming a mature, consolidated market like that in the US, with maybe just a handful of dominant players left. So like in the US, their autos market essentially just have 3 really strong legacy players, Ford, GM and Chrysler. So that could be something we see in the China market as well.